What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage, and this week, continuing on the how to play around cards and various effects videos series. I'm not certain what to call this yet. And this week I specifically wanted to talk about heal tax, which last week we talked about anti-salvage, and I figured this would be the next thing to be able to discuss. Now, currently in the English TCG, there are only two heal tax cards, and that is Hibiki from Kantai and Encounter with Senketsu Ryuko from Kill la Kill. Both of which have effects that basically state when they become reversed, you could pay a particular cost and summon the bigger versions of them from the waiting room to the field. We'll get to them later because there's also another little thing about those that you want to look into. But the basic thing of the for the heal tax is that when you pay the cost, part of the cost for each of them is sending them the Hibiki and the Ryuko to memory. So when you send them to memory is when the heal tax effect kicks in. And basically that states that when either player would try to send cards from the top of their clock, or from their clock, to the waiting room, that they either had to do one of two things. Either they had to pay 2 stock, there's the tax portion, or they end up having to deal themselves the damage from the top of the deck, to which you're back to square one and it's as if nothing happened. So, Now, the even bigger thing of this is it's cumulative. It stacks. If they have multiples of these Hibikis or Ryukos in the memory, and you forget that when you heal and forget about those effects, you can actually end up taking more damage than you initially started off with, or have to pay more stock than you thought before. So, because that stacks is also something you have to kind of pay attention for. Now, the biggest thing around the heal tax that a lot of people just say is, oh, well, just don't heal. And, okay, that's a no-brainer, but there's other things that you can do that still lets you heal. You're going to want to look at your card effects because as far as the heal tax is concerned, it specifically states when a card is set from the clock to the waiting room. So if you somehow can get cards off of your clock and send them anywhere except the waiting room, you're perfectly fine. 2 examples of this are Enormous Stature, Colossal Titan from AOT states that part of a climax combo effect, the end result is you end up sending the top card of your clock back to your hand. Because that goes to the hand and not the waiting room, the heal tax never triggers. So you played around it. Congrats. Another example of this is the new level 3 Liz from the SAO re-edit set. Her effect states on play you can discard a card and send the top card of your clock to your stock. This does actually 2 things, which is really freaking awesome. 1, you healed. You played around the Hibiki or the Ryuko. You don't have to heal tax in any way, shape, or form. And you essentially just paid, you got back a stock from playing a level 3 character. So it's as if you played the level 3 character for only 1 stock, which is freaking awesome because she gets big. So if you look at your effects and they do stuff like that, whether it's sending cards from your clock to your stock, or to your hand, or if you any type of effect like that, as long as it does not send it to the waiting room, it will never trigger the heal tax. So that's more a thing you want to look at, is look at your cards and see what you can do. And probably put more of those cards in your deck in some way, shape, or form if that's the type of series you're playing. Or have already been playing those cards and not realized, oh, this plays around heal tax. That's cool. So, yeah. The biggest issue of this is because of the fact that they're in memory, and you can't get them out in any way, shape, or form as far as other effects. There's no effects that straight manipulate your opponent's memory. And before anyone tries to say, oh, well, there's proper Nagato that lets you throw characters into the memory and then pull characters out. Sadly, her effect only specifically states the characters that you initially put into the memory by her effect. So you can't pull out Hibikis from that effect, just stating. So the other big part of these characters is when you pay their cost and you send them the memory, when they become reversed, is that they can summon bigger versions of themselves. So Hibiki summons the level 1 0 cost 5k Vernie, and the Vernie has an ability, as long as there's a Hibiki in memory, she gets plus 1,000 power. So anytime after you do that, even if you summon Vernies later, all those Vernies are going to have plus 1,000 power. So you're summoning free 6Ks that has no drawbacks whatsoever. And that's freaking awesome as far as just being able to purely play bigger characters. The Ryuko summons Rampaging Ryuko, which is a level 1 cost, and it has 2 effects. It's a 7,500 power, first off. And it has two effects. It can't be reversed by your opponent's auto effects, and when it's sent from the field to the waiting room, you have to deal yourself a damage from the top of the deck, which I thought was kind of ironic, that the heal tax that makes it say you can't really heal or you take repercussions summons a character that purposely damages you. Yeah, no, that's just very, very ironic to me. So, Anyway, so the biggest problem with these cards is when they become reversed. And a lot of the times, once again, a default thing that people just say, oh, well, just don't reverse it. Or just side against the Verni or side against the Ryuko. That's not taking care of the problem. Sure, it doesn't reverse them. But what are you going to do when your opponent turns around and just decides to ram their freaking character? They know your deck, or they know your set. And they're like, oh, well, I know that you have heal cards in your deck later on. Even if you somehow kill my Verni next turn, I'm purposely going to just swing my Hibiki or swing my Ryuko. And that Rampaging Ryuko is a big wall, just saying. And purposely trigger the heal tax myself or purposely get the Hibiki in there to have the heal tax active myself by suiciding my characters. Sure, they can do that. So simply siding against the level 0 for a turn or two, or even multiple turns. I've had Hibiki sit on the field for fuck ever. And just because they're like, oh, well, I'm just going to keep siding. And it's like, that's not getting rid of the problem, because then I can just turn around and then suicide with it. So you're going to want to eliminate the problem in some way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of cards out right now that, as far as a particular effect, that's been played a whole bunch more. You're going to want to look at other level 0s that have either the clock bomb or stock bomb effects. Now, these specific are, when they become reversed, you can, let's see, classic example of this is Undefeated Super Swordsman Yuki from SAO, which is a big set being played right now. It's a level 0, so you can always splash it in. It's always really good regardless of what setup you're doing. So this is a very good card to put in here for this effect. She's 1,000 power, and she states that when she becomes reversed by a level 0 character, you can heal the top card of your opponent's clock and then send that character to your opponent's clock. Yeah, so you heal the top card of their clock and then send that level 0 to their clock. Sorry, I had to make certain that I said that right. And because of that, it gets that problem card off the field. Now, obviously, the Ryuko is 2,000 power, so that's no problem. A lot of people actually say, oh, well, if I suicide with the Yuki, they'll just activate their effect. Anyway, actually, no. The way that you get around this, obviously, if they swing into it, they can do their effect first, sure. But if you purposely play the Yuki, or play, there's Ushio Kai from Kantai. It's also like only 1,000 power, and the same effect as far as that. And you purposely suicide with the Yuki, with the Ushio Kai, whatever. And you'll both become reversed, sure. But because you're the turn player attacking with your character, your effect will go off first. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to swing, and you'll be able to activate your clock bomb or stock bomb effect. Stock bomb, there's one from Idolmaster that I can't remember off the top of my head, that same thing, but it sends the character to the opponent's stock. Your effect will go off first and get their card off the field. It'll get the Hibiki, send it to clock, and they won't be able to activate their effect and get any advantage off of it. It'll be off the field before its effect can even activate. So that's a way to play around it and not just deal with it. There's a difference in playing around a card and having cards in your deck to deal with this, and having a quote-unquote toolbox of stuff as far as being able to take care of these effects and not have to worry about stuff. So instead of just going to the default, of course you can always either not heal. Of course you can always side against the level 0. But yeah, there's other things you can always do that some people just kind of ignore. And it's what I'm looking at going, there's always another solution. There's a way around everything. You just have to find it. And that's the point of today. So, yeah, thank you all very much for watching. We'll be trying to figure out another topic for the next How to Play Around thing. As far as that's concerned, I don't know if I'm going to go with like a particular deck build or if I'm going to go with a particular effect in that regard. Might be anti-change. I don't know. Just something to that effect. But thank you all very much for watching. Look for those types of cards. RTFC always. If you look at cards that have those effects, and you see a clock bomb or a stock bomb in your set, those can help you greatly, even if you only tech in 1 or 2. The odds that you may end up pulling it when your opponent gets their Hibikis and whatnot, it's better to have it than to not. And then other healing effects that don't send to the waiting room, you're perfectly fine. You can still heal and not have to worry about it. And then you can either get stock advantage or even hand advantage off of that, which is fucking awesome for any card game you try to play. So, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you have not already, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.